Today we're going to be taking a look at the top 5 tech characters in Injustice 2 Mobile. I've done a lot of different top 5s before, but I'm not going to lie, this one was the most shocking one of them all, just because I honestly expected for tech characters to be a little bit better than what they actually are. I never really took the time to think about it, but when you lay out all the tech characters, when you add the filter, when you go to your roster, you can see that most tech characters are just average. They're just moderate characters, and there's only a few tech characters that actually stand out. But either way, I still did my best to come up with a top 5 best tech characters, so let's start the video. Coming in at number 5 is going to be Silver Cyborg. Now, Silver Cyborg was also in my video of the top 5 best silver characters in the game, and again, like I said, there just isn't really that many great, outstanding tech characters out there, so there's no surprise that he's on this list as well. Silver Cyborg doesn't have a lot of passives or really anything super special about him, but his passive is pretty nice. Basically, whenever he's tagged out, he will generate health. However, one thing that's also really great about him is the fact that his special 3 does a good amount of damage, which means that as long as you build him up, he is definitely useful in raids. He's also, like I said earlier on, a silver character, which means that getting shards for him isn't really that hard. However, also keep in mind that because he's a silver character, you're never going to be getting his gear drops from raid rewards, which can really suck because you're going to have to go ahead and manually level up every single one of his gears up to level 60 or 70, whichever one you want. And I really wish some silver characters would get a refactor so they can get more passives, because just having a few nowadays isn't really that competitive because so many other characters have so many different passives or so many different things going on with their abilities. In terms of Cyborg's abilities, the only thing he does is power drain, but his special 3 is the special that allows him to do a good amount of damage. One more thing I want to say about Silver Cyborg is that this character is really cool in the sense that he's a tank, but he's also a damage dealer, and there really isn't any consequences to him when you want to build him one way or another, because you can build him both ways. Because of his passive, he's already naturally a tank, so if you want to just heal him up, tag him out for a little bit and he's going to be fine. But then again, with his special 3, which does a lot of damage, that's just a damage dealing factor, which means that you're going to have the best of both worlds, and I just think that's really badass. Now moving on to number 4 is going to be Silver Batman. This guy is the very first character that you're going to unlock when you start playing Injustice 2 Mobile, and getting his shards, again because he's a silver character like Cyborg, isn't going to be that hard. However, just like with every silver character, you're also going to have to take the time to manually level up every single one of his gears, because they just don't drop from gear rewards. In terms of Silver Batman's passives, he only does one thing, and that's giving his entire team extra critical attack chance. This isn't really anything mind-blowing, but the reason why he's at number 4 is because of his special 3, which has a secret multiplier, which means that he's going to be doing a lot of damage with his special 3. That's why you're going to see a lot of people using him in raids. Aside from that, his special 2 also has a stun bomb, and it lasts for a good amount of time, about 6 seconds. However, keep in mind that stuns don't really go off that much nowadays because there's so much stun resistance and crit resistance and all that stuff. I will say that me personally, I prefer Silver Cyborg over Silver Batman, but just because Silver Batman is so popular and I just see a lot more people using Silver Batman, I decided to put him at number 4. However, that's definitely not saying that Batman is a bad character or anything like that. He is pretty good and he is really easy to get, which is a really good thing. Anyways, now moving on to number 3 is going to be Predator Batman. Predator Batman is an OG character, and I really like using this guy. You guys see me using him all the time to destroy legendary teams, because his passive is really good in Arena. Basically, whenever you tag him in, he takes away about 15% of the entire enemy's current health, which means that as long as you keep tagging him in and tagging him out, he's going to be really slowly chipping away at all of the opponent's health, and it's really satisfying. However, unfortunately, this passive does not work in raids, and he doesn't have any other passive, which is a pretty big bummer. I would definitely like to see a refactor of this character, or I guess not really a refactor, just have them add either more passives or more things to his special abilities. However, his special abilities are pretty diverse. His special 1 does armor piercing and it's pretty strong. His special 2 has a stun bomb, just like Silver Batman, and it also lasts about 6 seconds, and his special 3, just like with Silver Batman, also has a secret multiplier, which means it's going to be doing a good amount of damage. The one thing that kinda kills this character is the fact that you cannot get him anymore off of the arena store, which is previously where you could get his shards. And also, unfortunately, there's really no other store or any other place that you can definitively get him from, so now the only real way to get him is through chests. Which of course is not a good thing at all, because the chests in this game are really scammy. You can still get his gears off of raid drops, however, me personally, I've never gotten any shards for Predator Batman off of the raid drops, only gears. This character, in my opinion, could have made it up to the number 2 on this list, but just the fact that his shards are really difficult to get nowadays, again, just kinda kills this character. However, I definitely think he's better than Silver Batman and Silver Cyborg, just because I think Predator Batman is a lot more useful, not just in raids, because again, his special 3 will be doing a decent amount of damage, just like Cyborg and Batman, but also Predator Batman is really useful in arena. Anyways, with that being said, let's move on to the top 2 on this list. Coming in at number 2 is going to be Justice League Cyborg. Justice League Cyborg is definitely an old character, but he holds up really well, just because the amount of damage that he and his team are going to be doing with their basic attack hits is absolutely insane. And there's no denying that Justice League Cyborg is definitely the backbone of the Justice League team just because of his passives. His passive makes it so that he's immune to stun, and he gets 3 power bars whenever he gets targeted by stun. But also, most importantly, he gives himself and his Justice League teammates 300% more damage on their basic attack hits. Not only is that really useful in raids to be doing a lot of damage, but I also really like using the Justice League team to finish my arena battles, my campaign battles, my Champions Arena battles, my resource mission battles. I can finish all those battles incredibly quickly with the Justice League team, and they save me so much time. In terms of Justice League Cyborg's special abilities, his special 2 does power drain, and it does a really good amount of power drain, which is really great. Not only are you going to be destroying your enemies with your basic attack hits, but you're also kind of disabling them from doing a lot of damage with their special abilities by power draining them. However, just like with Predator Batman, there is one main bad thing about him, and that's how to get his shards, because the only real way to get his shards is through chests. You might be able to get him off of raid drops, but I've never gotten any shards for Justice League Cyborg off of raid drops, and you used to be able to get him through the arena, but just like with Predator Batman, they took him out, and he also used to evade the arena, but he doesn't do that anymore. So you might have to spend a couple 100,000 gems to unlock this character, but I really like using this character, and especially when you have the entire team, it is really useful, so I definitely think it's worth the investment. Anyways, now moving on to the number 1 spot, it's got to go to Legendary Brainiac. No, of course, I'm joking. He's a terrible character. Don't even try to get him. Get Cyborg instead. But for the number 1 spot on this list, it's gonna go to Legendary Black Mana. First of all, half of the legendary characters in this game are pretty much utter garbage and they're not really useful, whereas the other half are useful in some situations. But the one legendary character that I really want to get, that I'm excited to get, hopefully at some point, is going to be Black Mana. Because Black Mana himself is the main part of his team. You don't have Batman Ninja Gorilla Grodd. He's a good character, don't get me wrong, but with Batman Ninja Gorilla Grodd, you're mainly going to be using him as support. And to really take the time to unlock a legendary character, I would expect the legendary character to actually be the main damage dealer or just the main focus of the team. Same thing goes with Arkham Knight Batman, because you're usually going to be using him with Heartbreaker Harley Quinn, and Heartbreaker Harley Quinn is going to be the main character in that team. But with Black Mana Black Mana is the focus of his team, and I really like that. And he's an offensive character, which I really like. The only other legendary character that comes to mind that can really stand well on his own is going to be Justice League Superman, but of course he's not a tech character, so I'm just going to count Black Mana today. And Black Mana, again, because he's an offensive character, he does have a lot of defensive stats. He's just my favorite legendary character of them all. His passive one is called Open Wounds, and it basically makes it so that whenever you use a special ability, you heal block the opponent. But not only do you heal block them, which means they won't be able to heal up, but you're also going to be applying a crazy amount of dot damage. His passive 2 makes it so that every single time that he lands a basic attack hit and the opponent doesn't block it, his basic attack hits will start stacking damage on top of each other, and it multiplies up to 100 times. So whenever he blocks an attack and he consistently keeps blocking attacks, the amount of damage reduction that his blocks are going to have is going to keep on increasing. And also on top of that, his passive 3 also makes it so that he gets more health. So you can see that with these passives, not only is he an offensive character, but you also don't really have to worry about his health that much because he's got a lot of really crazy defensive buffs as well. In terms of his special abilities, his special 1 makes it so that whenever you use it, the opponent's power generation will be slowed down. And his special 2 applies burning, which will halve the opponent's defense. His special 3 is also really interesting in the sense that it can stun, and it can even stun raid bosses as well. And every single time that he does stun the opponent, he will reduce the stun resistance of the opponent, which will make it easier for you to keep stunning them. So as you can see, Black Mana definitely lives up to being a legendary character because he's got so many different things going on for him. However, unsurprisingly, because this guy is a legendary character, not only is actually obtaining his shards really difficult, but also you're going to need a lot of shards to promote him up all the way. But again, just because this guy lives up to the legendary status and he's got a lot of really cool things going on for him, he's definitely coming in at the #1 spot for the top 5 tech characters in Injustice 2 Mobile. Anyways guys, don't forget to like and subscribe, stay safe and stay clean, and I'll see you guys later.